Barbara, thanks for holding on with me.
Sure.
All right. But we're going to go to Romney because that's what you asked about. But I just want to say one thing. You sound like a very smart lady. You sound like somebody who can appreciate the value of strategy in public conversations, right?
Sure. I listen to talk radio all the time. I rarely call in.
Well, that's okay.
This is the second time I've ever been on talk radio.
Did you call into my show before?
No, never.
Whose was it?
It was Glenn Beck's.
Who is Glenn Beck?
What?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Whoever you said, I was going to say that, even if it was Rush Limbaugh. Biggest show in radio history. I'm impressed you got through because, I mean, that's a big show. Good for you. Did you perform well? Did you handle yourself?
I don't know.
He's probably
but I was
nicer than I am.
arguing with him about something.
Oh, well, that's all right. That's all right. Let me say this. Let me ask you this question. If you were Mitt Romney and Ron Paul came in second in New Hampshire, and Ron Paul, for some reason, no matter how little the media covers him and how much money you spend against him, would you admit that it would be very good if you could tag him in a way that when people mention his name, they would mention something negative about it, like the way you said nutcase Ron Paul? Would you admit that strategically, if you could manage that nobody would ever say Ron Paul without saying nutcase, that you would implant a psychological advantage for yourself because nobody then wants to go, well, I'm for nutcase Ron Paul, unless they're one of those people who is defiant, and most people aren't. Will you admit that strategically that would be good?
I suppose. I don't know that Romney's said anything negative about Ron Paul. In fact, he said some good things about Ron.
You did.
I know, but Romney actually said some complimentary things about Ron Paul this morning on Fox
and that's
News.
all good. He's being the front runner now. Barbara, before we get to Mitt Romney, one other question. Are you a Mormon by any chance?
No.
Okay. Do you know much about the Mormon religion?
Some, yes, I do.
There was a pastor out of Dallas who was introducing Rick Perry at an event, and he referred to...
Yeah, I know that story.
Okay. Well, he referred to them as a cult. Now, what if every time we mention Mitt Romney, what if we were successful in saying cult member Mitt Romney? You think that might affect his approval in the polls?
Maybe so.
Probably wouldn't be good, would it?
Possibly not.
Rhetorical questions. All right, go ahead and make your point about Mitt Romney.
Well, I have a question.
He's patiently waited.
Okay, I have a question for you. Do you respect Nikki Haley as a conservative Republican?
Oh, very much so.
Okay. She obviously has some political insight, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. She has a lot of political insight.
Okay. She obviously has some good reasons for supporting Romney in this race.
Yeah, it's also possible that those reasons are that he's the front runner, and if she's made the decision that he's going to win.
She supported him before he was ever won a caucus or New Hampshire. Yes.
When did she start supporting him?
She supported him weeks ago. It's probably been nearly 3 weeks ago.
Okay. 3 weeks ago, where was Mitt Romney in the polls?
Well, a poll is a poll, but we're talking about...
No, it's not. The polls tend to be pretty accurate.
Okay. All right.
Your question is, do I let Nikki Haley cast my vote for me? No, I don't.
You said that you respect Nikki Haley as a conservative Republican.
Oh, sure.
Okay. Well, this is where I side with Nikki. I think that Romney has, to some degree, and to a large degree, been vetted already in the public eye. Also, let me finish. Also, he comes across as very disciplined. Maybe it's because of his religious background. I don't know. But he does come across as very disciplined. And he comes across as, because of that, presidential. Also, probably the biggest plus that he has at this point is he has a lot of money in his coffers and a very well-oiled campaign machine. Now, anybody knows going up against Obama, you're going to have that to fight.
Well, I didn't think about all those things. I mean,
I'm sure you did.
No, Barbara,
you are a very smart man.
No, can I just agree with you?
Okay, please do.
If the people who write big checks to candidates say Mitt Romney's the guy, and if Nikki Haley, I don't know her reasons, it's possible I wouldn't agree with them, but if Nikki Haley says he's the guy, then who am I to not be for him? I mean, I'm just some guy in Houston, right? Let me ask you this. How long have you been supporting Romney? 3 weeks?
Actually, I was a Kaine supporter.
Okay.
I actually even donated some money to his campaign.
All good. How long have you been supporting Mitt Romney?
Not really that long.
I know, in number of days, if I actually had a calendar out. Would it be about 3 weeks or maybe 6 weeks? How long would it be?
Yeah, probably about 3 weeks.
About 3 weeks. So the day that Nikki Haley came out for him, you
No.
came out for him?
No, not necessarily. No.
Before or after Nikki Haley did?
I think it really had to do with digesting a lot of.
I know, but I'm trying to determine a timeline.
I really don't know.
Okay, so you didn't wait till Nikki Haley endorsed him to support. Okay, so the fact that Nikki Haley endorsed him is not what drove your decision.
I don't know. I can't remember exactly what date it was.
So in other words, Nikki Haley validated your decision. She didn't affect your decision.
I'm not sure whether it was before or after.
Okay.
I only wrote down in my notes while I was talking to you, you were on break or whatever.
You took notes? That's not fair because I don't have time to take notes. That gives you an unfair advantage.
It's not fair.
That's not right.
I am some meek little lady over here.
You don't strike me as very meek.
Well,
I think you're mean. You call Rand Paul's father, a man in his 70s. You called him a nutcase.
I said he was for a specific reason.
Do you think Ron Paul does not want to engage Iran in war?
Are you a Ron Paul fan?
No, I'm not.
It sounds like you are. It sounds like you're his cheerleader.
I guess if I have an opinion that doesn't go along with the Mitt Romney supporters, that makes me a supporter of that guy.
I don't know. It just seems that way.
Let me ask you this. If Ron Paul raised a bunch of money and Nikki Haley supported Ron Paul...
I would still not support Ron Paul.
What if Ron Paul had a well-oiled political machine?
I am just not on...
What if Ron Paul were personally disciplined?
I think he is disciplined. He's very disciplined on his
What if Ron Paul were a Mormon?
I don't care about his religion. And
what if Ron Paul looked presidential? What if he went and got his teeth whitened?
Michael Berry, I think that's one of the problems with the Republican Party. We are too preoccupied with people's social agendas and religious affiliations and all that sort of thing. I think that it shoots us in the foot oftentimes, and then the Democrats turn around and use it to shoot our candidates.
Okay.
But Ron Paul, I really like his message on the Constitution.
Yeah, he's just a little nutty, I know.
Look, I really believe that he has a good message in that arena.
Let me ask you this. I got about 20 seconds, Barbara. Are you aware of the fact that a Mitt Romney super PAC spent about $20 million in Iowa saying things that have now been fact-checked by independent, objective journalists, and it's been determined that those were lies? Are you aware of that fact?
No.
Would that bother you if that was true?
Well, if it's a super PAC, I don't think that the candidates have a lot to say about it.
Well, then you know what? Don't worry about the super PAC attacks on Mitt Romney because the candidates have nothing to do with that because it's coming and it's going to hurt Romney. I'll tell you about that coming up on The Michael Berry Show.